the story of Scotland's 3,000 million year journey across the Earth's surface and the changes of landscape, climate, and wildlife. Scotland's building blocks are the rocks. Scotland has been shaped by opposing forces, the forming of new rocks versus relentless destructive erosion. Here are some of the ways rocks are formed and destroyed. Igneous rock, once molten rocks. Igneous rocks were once molten, formed by great heat within the earth. Sometimes the molten rock cools and solidifies within the earth. Sometimes it erupts on the surface as from volcanoes. Igneous, solidifying, cooling, melting, heating. Dark igneous rock in marble. Molten rock was intruded into cracks in the gray marble over 400 million years ago. You can see how it cut across the marble and how the cold marble chilled the molten rock at the edges. Rocks transformed. Metamorphic rocks were once buried so deep that the original minerals making up the rocks were changed by great heat and pressure. Burying, cooking, deforming, changing. This rock was once muddy sand. When it was buried deeply, about 650 million years ago, the rock minerals changed. The flat, shiny crystals of mica grew at right angles to the direction to which the rock was squeezed and folded. This means that they are aligned together and catch the light all at once. Sedimentary, the recycled remains of older rocks. Sedimentary rocks are usually formed from sediment, mud, sand, gravel, and boulders, the eroded remains of older rocks. Conglomerate is a rock made up of sand and pebbles of older rocks. Unlike most Scottish rocks, this particular conglomerate is very young, around 10,000 years old. These pebbles and sand were left by a river fed by melting ice at the end of the last ice age. Minerals from the groundwater cemented them together naturally. Sedimentary, rolling, grinding, cementing, recycling. Fossils can help make up rocks. The remains of animals and plants are sometimes preserved as fossils. They can show us what lived at the time the rocks were formed. A rock formed from the shells of dead animals. This limestone contains the shells of mussels, which lived in the Carboniferous times about 350 million years ago. Sedimentary, flowing, drifting, settling, cementing. Pebbles wear each other down to finer sediments, to gravel, then sand and mud. Rain, streams, and rivers wash them down valleys, perhaps into lakes, perhaps into the sea. They settle and may one day form new rocks. Where a reptile walked on the beach 250 million years ago. This rock was once desert sands flooded by a temporary lake or perhaps a rise in sea level. You can see the ripples left by the water. The rock cycle. New rocks form. Scotland is forever changing. Rocks don't last forever. As you have seen, they can be melted or squashed. They can also be eroded. Scotland is being slowly destroyed by erosion. Otherwise, the Scottish mountains might be as high as the Himalayas. Erosion breaks down rocks into gravel, sand grains, and clay particles. These soils and sediments are washed and blown away, sometimes even dissolved. Erosion happens in different ways. Smashing, beating waves, pry open cracks in the rocks and hurling grindstones against them. Wedging, when water freezes and cracks, it expands and breaks up the rocks. Dissolving, water slowly dissolves some rocks, especially limestone. Washing away. Rivers carry mud, sand, and gravel downstream and eventually to the sea. Here's the rock cycle. Sediment to sedimentary rock, to metamorphic rock, to magma, to igneous rock, back to metamorphic, back to sediment. Scotland is continuously being renewed. As you have seen the sand and mud form new rocks. As new rocks form, they capture evidence of what the world was like at the time. And here is Lewisian gneiss, Scotland's rock from Scotland. These ancient metamorphic rocks are found in western and northwestern Scotland. The rock shown here is 2,900 million years old. It's 2,900,000,000 years old. Even older patches of the Lewisian gneiss are found in the northwestern highlands. At 3,400 million years old, they are Europe's oldest known rocks. Anything older has been eroded away or perhaps is still buried, so we have no evidence for the earlier history of Scotland. And this is where on the map you'd find that. And here it is in real life.